Well, like Paul, are we willing to forego our rights regarding, for example, wearing a beard, if exercising that right might even possibly stumble someone?
5 years later.
How should we view a brother who chooses to grow a beard today? The governing body does not have an issue with brothers wearing beards. Why not? Because the Scriptures do not condemn the wearing of beards. Because the Scriptures do not condemn the wearing of beards.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
There must have been a giant sigh of relief at the Kingdom Halls after 61 years of pondering the deepest questions. One of them was actually answered pre-Armageddon. Let's take a look at the 1962 Watchtower, June 15th, page 381, to find out what this age-old question is. Likewise, it is possible to spend valuable time speculating on matters concerning the future. One might ask, in what year will Armageddon begin? Will the faithful angels eventually receive immortality? Will there be factories and machines in use after Armageddon? Will men wear beards again? These are typical questions to which Jehovah has not provided answers at this time. Do you think it wise for Christians to take time from more profitable Bible study to speculate on the answers? Well, the Watchtower, after 61 years, finally received light from Jehovah, who gave it to Jesus, who gave it to Stephen Lett, to let us know that will men wear beards again? The answer is yes. I also find it quite interesting that the Watchtower would tell its sheeple not to really spend time thinking about things like this. Yet apparently, they have time to speculate on issues like this. But is it something that the Watchtower really looked down upon? Is it just a conscious matter? Hey, if you want to wear a beard, wear a beard. If you don't want to wear one, don't wear one. Is it just up to you? Let's just take a look at just a couple of quotes from the past to see that although they would make it seem like it's up to you, to the amount that you would ever be used by the organization proves that having a beard was definitely not something that you should do. Don't buck the system. Don't rock the boat. Jehovah's organization has spoken, and all you need to do, baby, is just float along. Okay, so for individuals like myself that came into the organization and wanted to join the Theocratic Ministry School, here was the guidelines. This is taken from 2001, but just look at how they felt about it even as late as 2001 on the issue of beards. It says, for men, a neat personal appearance may include being clean-shaven. In areas where mustaches are widely viewed as dignified, any who wear these should keep them neatly trimmed. Benefit from Theocratic Ministry School education. So in order to join the Theocratic Ministry School, when they use the expression may include being clean-shaven, they mean the whole face, except unless a man wears a mustache, and that would be okay. Now, let me give you a little bit of credence onto how strict they were about the mustaches. For me, at the Kingdom Hall that I went to, the circuit overseer literally said if you wear a mustache, he should be able to take a credit card, put it in your mouth, and the hairs shouldn't be touching the credit card. So if you want to talk about legalistic and how far the Watchtower is willing to go, I know a man that would have stuck a credit card in your mouth before you went to give an assembly talk to make sure that you were groomed properly. That's just one example. Let's take a look at another. So going further back, the Watchtower 1968, this is how they feel about beards and how they think the world views people who wear them. In recent years, in many lands, a beard or long hair on a man attracts immediate notice and may, in the minds of the majority, classify such a person undesirably with extremists or as rebels against society. God's ministers want to avoid making any impression that would take attention away from their ministry or hinder anyone from listening to the truth. They know that people are watching true Christians very critically, and that, to a great extent, they judge the entire congregation and the good news by the minister's appearance as a representative of the congregation. So according to the Watchtower, back in the 60s, everyone who wore a beard was considered a rebel. Well, that's just not true. Many hippies didn't have a beard. And yet here we see them trying to characterize a man who wears a beard is viewed by everybody as just being a rebel or someone who's just against society, and that would take away from the message. That also brings me back to what Stephen Lett had to say at the very beginning of this video. He said, would your conscience, why would you allow yourself to wear a beard at the cost of stumbling someone? If I could just make the point on that, let me just say, if your faith is so weak in what you believe concerning being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, that someone wears a beard and that stumbles you out of the truth, you should probably look at the foundation of which you had built what you believe in. I know I am a believer. I love the Lord Jesus Christ. I am a sold-out believer. And I'll tell you right now, if someone does something that I wouldn't do, I'm not going to be stumbled out of loving Jesus. That's kind of a weak foundation. So for a Jehovah Witness who's been one for 25 or 30 years, are you telling me that if someone came into the Kingdom Hall and wore a beard, you would just walk out and say, well, you know what? I've been a Jehovah Witness for 25 or 30 years, but thanks to this guy wearing a beard, I'm done. I'm out of here. It's not a real good analogy to make, Stephen. When you think back even to 2009, the talk outline for those who give parts on the assemblies and the district conventions. I gave parts on the assembly and the district convention, and yes, you had to not have a beard, and if you had a mustache, it had to be trimmed neatly. Just listen to their own outline. Now remember what Stephen Lett said. The governing body has no problem with men wearing beards. Why? Because the scriptures do not condemn them. Yet you do. Dress and grooming. Just listen to this. Those giving talks should wear suits. If your talk calls for an interview or a demonstration, please do not use any brother who wears a beard. Well, if the scriptures don't condemn anyone for wearing or not wearing a beard, why do you? Why did you, for all of these years, make men feel like, I can grow a beard, yes, but I'm never really going to do anything in the organization? And for anyone who becomes one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you know. Like, that's the point. You want to comment, go out in field service. You want to join the theocratic ministry school. People start pumping you up to become a ministerial servant, then one day an elder, and maybe you'll reach out for further responsibilities, Bethel, whatever. All of those things you could not do if you wore a beard. That's condemning people for wearing a beard, not allowing them to do things that they have qualified for in the scriptures. Timothy says nothing about the qualifications in Titus about an elder or a deacon. Has nothing to do with a beard. It's not even mentioned. And you would hold them back for all these years and now say, it's no problem. Jehovah has no problem with it. It's just like counting time. You have no scriptural references to even show people, and yet you're going to condemn them and make them feel like a lesser class Christian or Jehovah Witness sitting there at the Kingdom Hall because they have a beard. And just to demonstrate that people that wear beards and have longer hair that go to the Kingdom Hall feel different, like they're not really one of them, the Watchtower will make sure that you read something, if you're going to the meetings, that will let you know that this is how you should fit in, by giving you examples of testimonies, or experiences as they would call them. Notice this Watchtower, 1998, January 1st, page 4. It says, and this is an experience, a Bible study was started with him, and as Bible truth began to affect his heart, the changes he made were visible to all. One of the first evidences of his change was that he cut short his long hair and shaved off his beard. Yes, shaving off his beard was evidence that he had given his life to Jehovah. Where is Jesus in any of this? Where is, I came to know Christ Jesus and I fell to my knees as I recognized that I had been forgiven for my sins, that Christ had imputed his righteousness into my soul, that I now have peace with God because of what Jesus did for me on the cross, that he was lifted up, that all who look upon him might look and live. There's none of that. Hey, I noticed you cut your beard. You must really love Jehovah. That is not an evidence that someone loves Jehovah. What would they think of John the Baptizer who rolled up? The Bible makes a specific point about his attire, about the camel's hair, about his long hair and his appearance. It does that for a reason. Believe me, the Pharisees and the people around him at the time didn't look like John the Baptizer. And so if there would be anybody that you would reject or say, your appearance, bro, is hindering your message, it'd be John the Baptizer. And yet we see his message certainly stood the test of time. We're still talking about it today. So it's not the outside of the person that really demonstrates what's on the inside. Jesus said, first clean the inside of the cup, and then the outside will be clean. None of this stuff that the Watchtower is doing, this new light on beards, on counting time, none of this is coming from Jehovah God to Jesus, to the governing body. All this is a way to manipulate you, to form you into who they want you to be. And as time changes, they are seemingly changing with it to fit in, but most of all, to have these people to do the most simplest, minuscule tasks. Anything the Watchtower says, they will do. If it comes to a beard, if it comes to counting time, most Jehovah's Witnesses will look at this issue and tell people like me or you, if you made a video on this, that you're being petty. This really is a pithy argument, but it's not. Because the argument has been made by the Watchtower that up until just recently, if you had a beard, you couldn't do things that really you were qualified to do. If they were supposedly qualified, according to the Bible, to be an elder or a ministerial servant, and you turned them down because of wearing a beard, and now Stephen Lett says the scriptures don't condemn them, Jehovah's Witnesses, you should ask yourself, if the scriptures don't condemn them, why did the Watchtower? I hope this video helped. I wanted to give some of my thoughts on these issues, such as counting time, not wearing beards. And I think finally, Finally, Jehovah's Witnesses, 61 years later, will men wear beards again?
After prayerful consideration, the governing body does not have an issue with brothers wearing beards.